My name is Robbie. I am a Cub Scout in the Kirkland Scout Group. And this is my Messengers of Peace project. I'm doing this with my dad, who is my Cub Scout leader. My project is to get my neighborhood to support the Ukraine. There are 4 steps to become a messenger of peace. The first one is inspire. Explore and research about local problems, people in action, and good practices.
So one of the things that's going on in the news, Robbie, that I really can't get away from, it's always there, is what's going on in the Ukraine right now. Right, so you got Russians who attacked, and they took the Crimean Peninsula a couple of years ago, and then they started attacking the Ukraine itself. And if you look at this this town here, do you know what city this is?
I have no idea. It could be the capital?
No, so Kyiv is the capital. It did get attacked, but the Ukrainians repelled them because the Russians couldn't get it together well enough. They didn't coordinate properly, and so it gave the Ukrainians enough time. So this is the city of Bakhmut, and it's a huge battleground right now.
Oh.
So this is Bakhmut as well, and you'll see there's every building pretty much in the entire city has been destroyed.
Oh my God.
And so what's happening is that the Ukrainians are holding out, and it's really hard to dislodge an army from a city because you got so many places to snipe from, to hide in. And so the Russians are really having a hard time. And as they're retreating, sometimes the Ukrainians have to destroy their own buildings because it gives the Russians a good place to snipe, right?
Yeah.
And so they even have to destroy their buildings as they're going backwards. So here, this is a live shelling area. You see fires and smoke everywhere, and it's happening from both sides, right? And so there's some severe destruction going on all over the Ukraine, and this is right in the center pretty much, because the battle line stretches all the way towards the peninsula and Kherson, and then up to the north. So one of the guys that I like to follow on YouTube, Robbie, is Denis Davidov. Okay, so he's got 641,000 subscribers.
Must be nice.
And he does videos pretty much every day, okay? And so what he does is he does maps, and he shows all the troop movements and where the Russians are attacking every day. So you get a better sense of what's going on than in the news. Whenever you see the news, it just tells you, oh, it's going well, oh, this city, but you don't understand it unless you see a map, right?
Yeah.
And so Denis Davidov is Ukrainian, and he's an airline pilot. And so all this time he's not working, and for a while he was living in the Ukraine, and he had to keep moving. He even lost power at some points. So if you're Ukrainian and you live close to the front, you don't even have to live close to the front to be affected by it, because you're losing power all over the country. And so he's he's really brave to do this kind of thing, because you're at risk if you're going to say anything wrong about the Russians.
Yeah. I have a question though.
Yeah.
So, you know how Putin says oh, the Ukraine started fighting that?
Well, I mean, so
can't they just make a YouTube video? Someone makes a YouTube video, and then they say oh, actually, to you guys out there, the Russian, it's actually, you guys actually started. It's just Putin doesn't want to tell you. Can't they do that?
So the thing is that there is an active propaganda machine that Putin uses, and everything else is stifled. So, he can cancel YouTube. He can cancel anything he wants. And
wow, that's a lot of power.
Yeah, there's actually a site called Samizdat. And so Samizdat is a way for Russians to get all the big news, like the BBC, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, all American news, all British news, even Canadian news. And every time Putin tries to shut it down, it opens up somewhere. It's like playing a gopher hole game, where you whack-a-mole.
Oh, whack-a-mole, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's one way that news is getting through. And of course, originally when they invaded the Ukraine, they called it special operations. They never called it a war. And obviously it was a war. So it's really important that people like this tell us what's going on, because we get up to the moment information. And Denis Davidov, big shout out to him, by the way. You should go and check out his site. He also has a really encouraging words for Ukrainians and for the rest of the world to help. And he always has good news. And he's a very kind person and a very likable person. And it's good to have people that are cheering, everybody on for the ultimate goal.
Yep.
Okay, so here is the map of the Ukraine. It's really bad to show the borders, but essentially all the green stuff at the top is a lot of the territory that was taken back. You'll see where Kharkiv is. A lot of that was taken back not too long ago.
Oh.
At the bottom, there's Kherson. That was all taken back. And where that black hand is close to where Bakhmut is. And all those red dots are all Russians. They're either Russian air bases or troops.
Oh.
Now, this map shows at its worst. You see the pincer movement of those arrows that are going around towards a circle?
I'm guessing that's
those are the Russians trying to encircle. And all the blue stuff is all the Ukrainian regiments. And all the red stuff is all the Russians. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to cut off all those Ukrainians in the middle.
Oh.
So here you see it a little bit closer, almost street by street. And if the pincer movement actually succeeds, then those Ukrainians are caught off. They don't have any more ammunition, any water, any food, and they could eventually surrender, and that would be devastating. So this is at its worst. Since we've done this video, they've been pushing back. So one very important thing that I want to say, Robbie, is that there are still good Russian people in the world. Okay, lots of them.
Yeah, I know.
I like every Russian that I meet. And don't forget, there were 700,000 people who left Russia who didn't want to fight against the Ukrainians and who felt like the Ukrainians were their brothers, because they actually are. They're very close to them. And those people risked their lives to leave Russia. Some Russians are refusing to fight, and they go to jail for 15 years. Some of them are poisoned, some of them are tortured. And so it takes a lot of brave people to do that. So in the end, even though we're at war with Russia, don't ever forget that there's a lot of good Russian people.
I know.
All right?
Yeah. The second step to become a messenger of peace is learn and decide. Identify your motivations and talents. Choose a field of action, select useful knowledge and skills and ideas to apply.
All right, so Robbie, one of our motivations is all the suffering that's going on.
Yeah.
And the best way to help Ukrainian people is to
donate
to
the Canada-Ukraine Foundation.
That's right. Now, we looked around at there's a lot of great places like the Red Cross. There's some independent stuff where you can donate money to schools where they're replacing windows and stuff. But we wanted to do something right on the front.
Yeah.
Okay, Robbie, so this is what they do. They send out 140,000 food boxes.
Wow.
They'll feed 350,000 people. Medical supplies to 78 hospitals. Care for the elderly. Heat, they send 2,000 wood-burning stoves. Firefighting equipment. So they do a lot of good things. Ambulances, right?
Yeah.
Robbie, let's have a look at this video from their website.
Oh.
So that's an airstrike.
Damn.
Some of this is artillery strikes as well, but you can see the whole city's being devastated. Hey, look, those are those ambulances that were helping pay, right? And they take out bridges, of course, because it slows down the Ukrainian army.
Yep, there's a tank.
That's a tank. The other one was an infantry vehicle. Those are the food. Look at that. 1 million people got some food.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And you see the Canadian symbol right there.
That's a cool logo.
Yeah, with the Ukrainian trident, right?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful symbol for the Canada-Ukraine Foundation.
Yeah.
These are all people who got supplies, the 78 hospitals that they were talking about.
Yep. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, they filled gyms up,
Yeah.
Anywhere that they can put it safely. Hopefully they don't get hit.
Oh my gosh.
So this is what happens when you get hit, right? 1,000 new firefighting personal equipment. Yep. This looks like London during the Blitz. This is ridiculous. The British people had to put up a lot when the Nazis were bombing us,
Yeah.
And the Ukrainians are going through it. This is very nice. They're doing lots of surgeries and giving medicine. And they're helping 9,900 children with war trauma therapy. You know, and this is nice. This is summer camps for 1,800 displaced children. They're like us, you know. They're like you, Robbie. They're like they're scouting and camping and doing archery. You know, because they're kids just like you. They've just lost their houses. In some cases, they lost their parents, Robbie.
$44 million.
Yeah, they received and they used 22 million of it.
Wow.
So, Robbie, we're Canadian, and we have one thing in common with the Ukrainians, and that is we hate cold weather.
Yep.
We suffered through an ice storm, and we didn't have heat for a week. And the Russians, on purpose, they took out their grid so that they would freeze. And so one of the things that the Canada-Ukraine Foundation did was to send wood-burning stoves, and here they are.
That's cool. I have identified my talents as being able to make art. I have done my creative badge in beavers and my arts badge in cubs. My plan is to make and sell books as a fundraiser to donate the money to the Canada-Ukraine Foundation. The third step to become a messenger of peace is to do. Plan your actions, execute, monitor, and report.
So, we are going to be painting the Ukrainian flag. So, we need blue and yellow
Yes.
to paint it.
Yes.
Blue and yellow.
So the flag is just half the flag. So how do we find the middle of the flag?
So there's two ways. The easier way is to line it up here how I have done,
Yeah.
and then do that number for me. It's 10.
Yeah.
It's 10 and a half.
Okay.
5. So
it's right there. Okay. So make your mark.
So about there.
Great. Okay.
Too dark.
Great.
So first we're going to be starting with the lighter color between blue and yellow, which is obviously yellow. So let's say you mess up with the blue, you can't really cover it with the yellow because it's brighter, but you can do that with blue. So what you're going to do, so you have your lines and then a half, you got to cover the top part right above the line with your tape. You have to line it up perfectly.
Great.
So you can paint this and then you put that.
After we take off the tape. Great. Thank you.
So now we're gonna start painting. Oh gosh. First you have to shake the paint, close it, put your thumb on top, make sure you don't do that. Alright, this way. You should only put a little line in the middle, and then you should do the technique. I'll show in a minute.
Okay. Good. Oh, that's more than enough.
Really? Right. So then the technique is you start in the middle, you go like that. You go back, like that.
Nice. Perfect.
And you could go over if you miss
Yes.
that.
Nice.
It's very important to wash your brushes after, like I'm doing here.
And wash the sink after.
So now that we're done the yellow one, we will do blue coat. First, again, you gotta shake it and make sure to put your finger on the cap or else it can fly up.
And so this time we put the tape on the other side of the line. Okay.
And make sure not to press hard because
Right.
it might rip up.
Well, because we didn't let it dry for very long.
No.
All right, go ahead.
Oh gosh, that's a lot.
Yeah, stop.
I'll put a little.
Okay, stop.
It's a little too much. Man, at least it's not more than that. Let's go. Oh
that's gonna
gosh,
be
that's a nice blue.
It's a nice sky.
Oh, that's
Looks just like the Ukrainian flag down there, eh? Yeah,
Look at that. That was
very nice.
Now I'm doing the blue side. For paint.
And that's it. So it needs another coat of blue. Yellow just needed one coat, but the blues need 2
Maybe
coats.
not this one. I think I put too much paint.
Yeah, maybe.
This is the donation page where I raised $150.
So, Robbie, this is what I got from the Canada-Ukraine Foundation. It says, Dear Robert, thank you for your generous donation to the Ukraine Humanitarian Appeal, a joint effort of the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress and the Canada-Ukraine Foundation. Your meaningful gift in support of the Ukraine Humanitarian Appeal is helping to provide humanitarian relief to displaced persons in the form of medical care, emergency shelter, and food security. Thank you. We truly appreciate your commitment and steadfast support of CUF's critical mission. So I just want to say congratulations, Robbie.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you. This was the biggest fundraiser you ever done, the best thing that you could have done for people who are in really big need at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Good for you, bud.
The final step to become a messenger of peace is share. Share what you did, your experiences, and outcomes, and learned outcomes. We're going to share this project with our Scout Pack and on YouTube. You can help by sharing this video and getting our message out. I'd like to thank all the great people who helped me support the Ukraine. Thank you to Rick, Luke, the Armstrongs, Claudette, Elizabeth, Shane, Luciano, Armando, Liam's mom, Jerry, Susan, and Sam and Sam's mom. Shout out to Opening and Gaming with Noah's Sam. They need go ahead and check them out.
And shout out to Dennis Davidoff.